Hello again. My name is Katya Barry. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a confidence coach for women leaders with families. Why this title? Why not just a confidence coach, or why not a leadership coach? We all are extremely busy. We all have lives which take us all over the place, all over the world, all over different industries, and we all have different identities. I'm a mom to three girls. And when I talk about being an identity coach, this is exactly what I mean. We all have so many identities in our lives. We identify ourselves as being women, as being mothers, as being lovers, as being leaders, as being managers, as being assistants, as being sisters, friends, you name it. Yeah, we all have so many different identities, and often we get lost. And I know that we do. I speak from the heart because I am just like you. Especially us women, we put so much pressure on ourselves, right? We often blame the society of the men for putting pressure on us, and it's true, of course. But really, most of the pressure comes from within, right from ourselves, because we want to commit to those standards that society puts on us. Yeah, we want to achieve, certain things in private life. We want to be successful in our careers, in our professional life. We also feel hugely responsible for our loved ones, for those who are around us, and specifically if we have children. I'm sure you can relate and you will understand that it's a never-ending challenge, right? Parenting never stops. Once the kids become older, the challenge changes. Like I said, I'm a mom to three. My girls are aged 15, 13, and 4. So I have quite a big gap there between number 2 and number 3 there. And I'm telling you, I thought I knew everything about babies and toddler years and potty training and all of that. Turns out number 3 came along, different child altogether, different character, different identity, just as sweet and just as kind as the other two, and hugely lovable, but completely different child. And my attitude as a mother has also been different to her because I have changed throughout the years. I was 9 years older when I had her. So my parenting style has changed and my attitude towards life has changed. As a small introduction about myself, I currently live in Munich with my family, but I moved here last summer, or about a year ago, after 5.5 years in China. And I know you want to know, oh, so how was it? And was it difficult? It was challenging at times, of course, no doubt, but we had such a great time. We really enjoyed it. And I think the reason for that is because we went mentally prepared. We knew that we were going somewhere completely different, somewhere almost alien-like, I suppose, right? It was interesting to pack up the whole house, including the kids. Oldest girls were 7 and 8 at the time when we moved them, and take it all, hundreds of miles away and start life again. But then last year, do the same, pack up and move back here again. And the cultural shock of going there was just as big as it was of coming back. Actually, coming back, repatriating was just as challenging, still is to an extent. And throughout my journeys, and I've just been coaching, it just so happened that regardless of where you go, your skills do not disappear. You always find there's always a calling for you there, what you are best at, what people crave from you, they will ask for it, regardless of where you are and where you go, and what you try to do and what you don't try to do. When I went, I stopped coaching. Because I told people what I did, what my previous experience was, people reached out and they asked for help. And I ended up working with people and coaching people on various subjects, and I loved it. It was great. So now I started to rebuild my business. And of course, the first thing that I turned to was, well, what is it that I actually want to do? I turned within myself and I really started to analyze what it is that I'm good at and what it is that I really enjoy doing. Yeah, I think there is a big difference between what you enjoy doing and what you want to do. So in this series, the 5 days masterclass on confidence boost for profit and business and joy in life, I'm going to talk about various things. And today's lesson 1, is all going to be about identifying your strengths. I wanted to talk about what happened to me today. Actually, what happened to me in the last few weeks, because I originally advertised this masterclass, I'd say about a month ago. I started advertising it, and I had different ideas for it. But then I went on holiday with my family because kids had a school break for 2 weeks, and we went to France. And this is where the technical issues started happening. The website, the opt-in form that we have set up wasn't working. Then I was taking people to a wrong link, left and right. It just wasn't working for me, and I got really frustrated, as you would, right? Of course, everyone would. And I didn't know how to fix it. And other interesting thing is that although I was in France, the internet wasn't working. So that was weird. You think, you're in Western Europe, but the internet doesn't work, really? A little bits and bobs started happening. So at the same time, I started working with a new coach, and that came in really handy because I spoke to her about it, and I shared my frustrations with her. And what has come up for me is that, first of all, it's not a big deal. If something doesn't work out, something doesn't happen, like in that case for me, just move your training by a week. Not a big deal. And I did that. I moved it to this week, because originally I advertised it for last week, but I moved it for this week. So much so that the actual opt-in form still has the wrong dates of last week. That hasn't been changed. I'm not going to go again into details as to how and why. Just happened. Whatever. But the main takeaway that I got from that week is that little things like this really triggered me. And I was on holiday and I was meant to be relaxing and having a good time and just keeping an eye for opt-ins and asking people, answering to people's emails. But it really triggered a lot of anger and frustration. And then I had a sudden switch where I realized that if I looked at the triggers as being activated, all of a sudden, my perception of the situation would change. And it did. And the same happened this morning when things weren't just working out for me. Again, want to take a step back. Last week, things still weren't working out for me. There were still technical issues, still technical problems. And I thought on Friday that I have resolved them. And as it turns out this morning, more problems have arisen, but there we go. So instead of panicking, instead of being frustrated and, pulling the hair out of my head, and I've got a family, right? So they sent the oldest one off to school. I took the youngest one to the kindergarten. I came home, I had a shower, I made myself a pot of coffee, and I said, right, I'm going to sort this out. And I'm going to see what this really means for me, what this activates in me, and actually unpack this lesson. I want to mention another thing, that this was not the end of my early morning frustrations. My middle daughter got tested positive for COVID. But this is where, again, my the idea of identities came up for me. I'm a mom. I have to look after my kid who is not done well. I've got two other ones who have to be protected and looked after. But I've also promised all these people that I'm going to deliver this masterclass today. And then, of course, I have my other identity, which is my ego, which is my me, who, wants to perform and wants to do things. Yet on the other hand, is saying, but you can't do this. You have to give up. And just like, what are you doing? Just quit it all and just go and hide and cry and forget about it all. So all of those different versions of me are popping up, but I only have, of course, one head and one heart. Luckily, I have have a good shower and I have good coffee. I sit down and I think about what is going on and what is happening. And I want to share with you what has actually come up for me today. First of all, I should say that I've fixed the problem. I've reached out to everyone individually. Now, of course, the question is whether people have seen those messages or not. But like I said, it is what it is. I have promised to deliver this training, and I am delivering this training to you, to everyone who is on call today. I applaud you. Thanks so much for being here. And I said to my coach last week, I said, you know what, regardless of what happens, whether one person will turn up or 10 people will turn up, I am going to deliver this because I said I will, and because I know that everyone is here because they need this training. They want to be here, and I'm going to do my give 100% to whatever happens. And I'm doing this. So after I've sorted this issue with myself this morning, I've cooked breakfast for myself and my daughter. I've actually made pancakes. It's not a sort of thing that you do on a Monday morning, pancakes, but I did because I thought, I need time off. I need to switch off. And she deserves a good breakfast, and so do I. So I had a lovely breakfast with her in the garden. And then I switched off and I just walked around and did a few things around the house. And then I journaled. And I want to share some of my thoughts from this morning. Because the original plan for today's class was different. But I believe that everything that had happened to me today is for a reason. And this is where I'm going to unpack the story with you in front of you to share how I see all these little barriers and all these challenges that have come up for me in last weeks, including this morning, what they actually mean. So I started off with writing, things are not working out for me today, but I'm going to lead with love. And I think this is actually one of the main lessons for today, is that we are all leaders. Everyone on this call today is a leader. Even if you don't think of yourself as a leader, you are. You are doing so much for yourself, for the people you love, for your family, for the people you manage, you work with, you talk to via LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter or whatever. You are a leader. And if you think about your role as a leader and that you lead with love because you actually like what you do, you like the result that it brings to people, then I think we're all gonna enjoy our work so much more. Everything that's happening today and prior to today is showing me what's right. It's not just testing me or testing me whether I'm right for this job or whether this job that I'm doing right now is right for me, and whether I actually really want to do this, from the heart. But it is also realigning me. This is going back to our identities and whether we really are aligned for what we do in life. Yeah, for the job. Because after all, if we are aligned, if we do the job, whatever it is, whether you're self-employed or you're working for someone else, it doesn't matter. The same applies to family, to parenting, to relationships. If you are aligned from within for the job that you want to do, then the other party will receive huge benefits, right? Because we feel each other's energy, we feel each other's love and support that comes from within, that can't be ignored. And somehow my identity or my identities are my purpose, when they are aligned with my purpose. And this is what's been happening, I think, has really been guiding me to my center, to who I really am, to find myself again. So there is a lesson here for me, and the lesson that I want to share with you is that whenever troubles come, whenever triggers come, what is it really trying to tell us? Where is it trying to take us? I believe that in this case, for me, it's bringing me back to my center. It's telling me, it's teaching me that I need to realign, that I've stepped out of my zone of genius. My zone of genius is to be here, is to do this, what I do now with you, is to teach you, is to coach you, is to inspire you, to empower you, to help you get results in life, to make sure that you feel confident to move forward with your ideas, with your goals, with your wishes. And once I step out of this zone, I am out of my zone of genius. And the same is for you. So what happened with me when I've been being triggered? Like this doesn't work and that doesn't work. And somebody gets ill and somebody gets knocked off and the car gets scratched and this and that. I go, blah, right? Like we all do in life. And this, it's a way that life tests us. Do you really want this? Are you really up for this job? Is this really how you want to feel? Is this really what you want to achieve? Let's talk about your personal strengths. Strengths is something that, we talk about often when we apply for jobs and when we reassess our life and reevaluate what's going on in life. And this is something that is always different at every point in time. In fact, I've just did a reevaluation of my own strengths this morning as I was journaling. I want you to do this exercise for tomorrow. I want you to list 3 strengths, only 3, no 4, no 5, no 10, 3, which are applicable to you today or right now, whatever, maybe phase in your life you're going to. Strengths which you really value, which you're proud of, which when you look at yourself, you think, well done me. I am so proud of me for being this. Okay, take your time to think about this. Maybe it pops into your head straight away, maybe not, but I want to share with you what I wrote for myself. So the 3 strengths for me, which came up this morning after reevaluating of everything that's been going on, are resilience, honesty, and patience. And patience is something that, where do you get it from? If you could get patience, like I'll get it by a bucket full. Can I get some in advance in story, please? Yes, you can train patience. You absolutely can. The way to do that is to pay close attention to your behavior, to spot when those triggers come in, what is being activated in you, and to stop yourself. Now, nobody else around you has to know about this. You don't have to tell anyone. You can if you want to, but I'm not that type of person. You can if you want to, but like, say, I'm getting really frustrated. This is getting to me like, okay, take a minute, take a step back, take a breath, go for a walk, have a cup of tea, do whatever it is that you can do, and reassess the situation and think of this. How can this trigger be changing into activator. Instead of me being triggered, what is this activating in me? So please think about those 3 strengths that you have. Because once you will realize why those strengths are there and why you're so proud of them, believe me, your confidence will skyrocket immediately. I want to go back and do a quick recap that today's lesson is about strengths. Think of your skills, think of your strengths, think of what you achieved, think of what really, really gives you a lot of love and power. That when I think of myself, that I'm resilient, I go, yes, I am. I am strong and I am capable, and so are you. I know that each and every one of you who is in this call right now, or whoever is going to watch the replay, you're a very strong and confident woman leader. I want you again to remind you that I lead with love. And so do you. I want you to write it down, please, and repeat this as a little mantra to yourself. If you feel stuck, if you feel unhappy, if you feel like something is triggering, turn it around, look at what it activates for you, and repeat, I lead with love.